Hi, it's Kithran, and this time we're looking at ships in Terra Invicta. And these are basically the ships I've had in this game. It's the same one we were in when I was going through base design. And as you see, I don't have lots of different ships. I'm probably at the point where I can design a new ship, but I've not yet got a need to. But it will show you the principles I follow and why for all the various ships. So, first thing you'll note is all of them, with the exception of the colony ship, are the same. They're all attack bombers. Now, what that is, if we go into have a look at all of them, it's the bit you've got here, and you can give it a roll. Now, where that's important is when you're choosing the formation, etc., and how spread out your ships are when you're about to fight a combat. That is partly their position is dictated by their type. So if your ships are all the same type, they'll all be grouped together, and that's one very important thing for every ship, except actually this first kill monitor. And speaking of which, let's have a quick look at what the base is. What's the principle behind this? Now, what this is for, it's for getting, as it says on the tin, the first kill. You've got that early mission to take out an alien ship. It's not really a spoiler, I think most people are aware of that. You know, to get somewhere you've got to fight the aliens. Unless you're playing the servants exclusively, but that's a different case. A special case, really, that. So, what is it? Well, I picked the monitor, mainly for the to get a reasonable number of weapon slots. It's equipped with the Copperhead missiles, their basic missile. It's got 4 of them. It's got a couple of magazines. It's got a radiator, basic battery, a fuel cell, a Super Kronos liquid rocket, maximum number of engines, and enough propellant tanks to give it a little bit of Delta V. It doesn't need lots. It's got armour fitted. Admittedly, this is adamantine armour, which is not necessarily what you'll have at the very start, but as you see, I've not actually put any armour on there, so that part is irrelevant. Its main job, its only job, is to fire lots of missiles at an alien ship and get a kill. You may need to be having a few similar ships which have a couple of point defense, replacing the a couple of the missiles with it, just to shoot down incoming alien missiles if you don't have lots and lots of these built. But basically, this is designed to be disposable. You'll want to build maybe a dozen of them, and part of the reason is they ain't going to catch anything with that speed. What you do is you take your dozen ships, you split it into 2 fleets, each of 6 ships, and they want to start at the same station, probably the station where they've been built, and you set them both to intercept the same target. And when you get there, what will happen is you'll get... Well, actually, let's see if I can quickly... no, I need to confirm assignments to be able to show you that in practice. But basically, when you get there, you get the option to engage, to fight if the other side chooses to, or just try to evade. And if you engage, and the other side doesn't want to, which they might not want to because, for example, they might think, oh, you've got half a dozen ships with lots of missiles, and that's going to blow up my little destroyer. I'm going to just evade because I've got oodles of Delta V. They'll be able to spend Delta V. You'd only have, say, 6 or 7 or whatever that you could spend to try and catch them. They choose to spend more and they've gone away. But if you sent 2 groups at the same target, so they arrive at the same time, the enemy will be able to evade one of them but can't evade the second. It's often referred to as pincering. And it's how you can capture alien ships early on before you've got the engines and the power plants to be able to outrun the outrun them and run them down. But that class basically it hangs around a little bit and is then basically you never use it again really. The fight back destroyer is what I actually use in this game, mainly because I deliberately delayed going for the kill on the first kill, and it's a slightly different design. It's got a couple of point defense. It's got lasers because the idea is this is actually designed to survive that initial fight. It's not designed to just fire off its missiles and have half its friends blown up. So it's got lasers. As you see, green arc lasers. That isn't a that's more mid-game weapon. But this is what I actually used in this game because, as I said, I delayed getting to that point. Then I've got my battleships, which have been my main fighters. The initial one was basically just a defensive battleship. As you see, it doesn't have the Delta V to travel between planets effectively. So I basically had these built at each area I had bases. So there were some built at Mercury, some at Earth, some at Mars, and some out at Ceres. And this has got the coal gun batteries, Mark IIs, point defense arc laser turret, green arc laser cannon, 4 laser engines that basically increase the effectiveness of these, a muon spiker which gives you a bonus to the thrust of my engines, Triton pulse drive, Z-pins fusion reactor, superconducting coal battery, tin droplet radar, radiator, and a little bit of armour. And these were used in numbers. Because they were all attack bombers, their default positioning is at long range from the enemies, and I'd use them, maybe 6 or 9 of them in a fleet. They'll go in the short wall or the high wall formation, which basically is either 2 rows or 3 rows. So if you have 9 of them, you have basically a 3x3 cube, which means that their point defense protects each other, and that lets them basically live through the alien barrages, their initial barrages of missiles, and the laser cannon with the boosts to its range, more damage at longer ranges, plus the coil guns basically can take out most ships without problems. And then I went on to the first ship that's using exotics. As you see, I've got a reasonable number of exotics now, but this is the first ship that's using exotics, and it has far higher Delta V. So this is the first ship that was able to actually, if an alien fleet was coming in, I didn't need to be splitting my fleet into 2 to catch them. I could just send a single fleet. So even though these obviously chunkier ships, I don't actually need as many of these as I did with the others, because I don't need to be splitting them to guarantee that capture. And it's the same sort of principle as the other one, it's just upgraded. So it's got advanced laser engines compared to the basic laser engines we had before. So even though it's only got 2 of these, that's actually just as effective as 4 of the basic ones. Still got the muon spiker, it's got the hydron tap, which increases the exhaust velocity, and an ECM Mark II. An important thing about ECM is until you unlock the alien ECM tech, your ECM will have no effect on alien missiles. That's why you didn't see that any sort of ECM on my earlier ships. I hadn't researched that tech, but by this point I had. So I've got the ECM on there, 40% chance of detonating missile early, and it's got the Zeta Helion drive with a Z-pinch fusion reactor 3, and again a little bit of armor. I don't tend to go for lots of armor on most of my designs. I rely on basically shooting the enemy down before they do too much damage. The one exception to that is the Basebuster class Titan I've got here, which is designed to go in and take on alien bases. So it's got the heavy plasma cannon as its main weapon. Coil gun batteries Mark IIIs, which are using a bit of exotics. Point defense phaser turrets rather than arc laser turrets. The Mark III ECM, so higher chance of detonating the missiles. Still got the muon spiker. Still got a couple of advanced laser engines. Got a repair bay. Oops. It's not letting me click on it. We've got a fusion outpost kit and a couple of elite marine assault units here. Engine wise, got the Firefly torch, flow stabilized Z-pinch fusion reactor, and it's not fast in combat, but it can get to places, and it's slow, steady, just beats down the enemy. 150 armor on the front. It's designed to just slowly move in on an enemy base and take it out. Once it's done that, it's got marines that can drop onto surface bases, take those out, and the fusion platform kit basically means that, well, if we look at the ships, the Basebusters are currently damaged. It's because they're docked at this station that they built themselves with one of their fusion kits, so that they can just repair and then move on to another alien base. Fairly straightforward. And then I've got another group of them, which, well, they're heading to just clear out the Protectorate station above Mars. So that's the ships I've got. There's probably 1 or 2 more ships that I will design before this game ends. I'll probably design a better battleship, designed probably to go for maybe a dreadnought, I don't know yet, but designed to be more of a raider, taking out enemy fleets out in the asteroid belt and then further out. And also I'll be designing a ultra high speed shuttle, because for most of the factions you need to get your one of your councillors out to the whichever Kuiper belt planet the aliens have based themselves on. And so that's the excuse to build that antimatter ship with a really silly drive that will use multiple years worth of antimatter production for fuel, but its only job is to get someone from Earth to the Kuiper belt in a few weeks. Because otherwise you're sat there for ages trying to get there. But anyway, that's it for what I've got to say on ship design. And I'll say goodbye and see you next year. Catch you later.